The opinions expressed on the X and Y Show are the sole opinions of the host. Please note, there is no intentional desire to offend any member of the listening audience. With that said, if you still feel offended, tough shit.
It's time for the X and Y Show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y Show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y Show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
And greetings. Welcome to another segment of the XY Show. And I'm your host, Roosevelt. And welcome. We're in the month of September, and you know how I feel about this time of year. I love the bird months. It's beginning to get cool. Well, cool everywhere except Miami. It's not cool here. Miami fucked up. But everywhere else is beginning to get a little cool a little bit. And, it's getting a little holidays in the air. You get in October, and then you see the leaves change, and then, Thanksgiving and Christmas. I love this time of year, the bird months. My birthday is in November, by the way, for those of you wondering. Be sure to, there's a PayPal link on my website. Oh my goodness. So let's jump into this week's, I'm going to answer some questions first. Here we go. The first one's from Stan. Heard your episode last week. Would like to know, why do you think it's easier for women to forgive men for infidelity than it is for men to forgive women? Well, Stan, I don't know. I guess it depends on the person. But I think generally, the reason for that is because when a woman gets cheated on, I don't know, but I'm just guessing. When a woman gets cheated on, it's kind of easy for her to accept her husband or boyfriend fucking somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, she's visualizing him fucking somebody. I mean, she don't like it, but, she can visualize, her man fucking somebody, compared to a man visualizing his woman getting fucked. That's a little different scenario. That's something that is hard for a lot of men to accept. A woman can accept her man fucking somebody else, but it's very difficult for a man to accept his woman getting fucked. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what it is. It's just that simple, Stan. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with answer A. That's my final answer. Okay, next question is from Brandy. Brandy says, who do you have a crush on? Brandon, now if you listen to the XY Show, you know who I have a crush on. That's Jada Pinkett's mom, Adrienne Banfield. I don't even know if she's married. And I don't want to know. Let me have my fantasy, please. Just let me have my fantasy in peace. I want to have some serious entanglements with Jada Pinkett's mom. That woman finer than the motherfucker. And it's just something about her. And she's much older than me. But, I don't give a fuck about age. Everybody know that by now, I hope. So I can make her very happy. And I would really like to get in some serious entanglements. So if anybody knows Jada Pinkett's mama, tell her there's someone out there that would love to give some serious entanglements with her. But that's your question, Brandy. Jada Pinkett's mom. I really would like to do some things for her. But anyway, let's jump into this week's episode. When is the right age to have children? Again, when is the right age to have children? Now, when I made the banner, I should have said, when is the right age for men to have children? Because I'm talking from a man's perspective, really. Because women, they can have children later, but after menopause, whether they want to or not, they're not. Whereas men can have kids, as long as they shoot some nut out, they can have kids at old men. So I was pretty much talking about men from a man's perspective, but I guess this kind of relates to women too in a way. But when you're asking this question, and before I jump into the next episode, I just want to name some fathers of Hollywood that had kids when they were old men by society standards. And I just want you to think about that while I'm jumping to the episode. Charlie Chaplin, he was 73 years old when he had his one of his children. He died at 88. So his kid only had him around for 15 years. Basically when he really needed him, Charlie Chaplin had died. And that's one of the reasons, why I'm doing this episode. It's like you have to choose your poison. You have to choose what is right for you. And is it fair to the offspring of, because they didn't ask to come in the world when you damn near 80 years old, So, that's some of the things that every individual has to think about. And so I want you to think about that while you listen to this episode. Charlie Chaplin was 73 years old. Robert De Niro was 68. He's damn near senior citizens. Picasso, the artist, 68 years old. Steve Martin's first time he had a child, he was 67. Now, the other guys I was naming, they had other children, but I think, their latest children is just... but Steve Martin's first child, he was 67. Clint Eastwood, 66. Larry King, 66. Nick Nolte, 66. Hugh Hefner, 65. Rod Stewart, 60. Michael Douglas, 59. So you had all these old ass men in Hollywood, and then a lot of you saying, well, they're rich, they got money, they can afford it. It's not about being able to afford it. You can be a billionaire. It doesn't make it right. That's not, having money is not the only thing that's, being a father is about. Being a father is, being able to take your kid to the ball games and being able to throw a baseball with them and being able to play a couple of games of basketball and being able to work out with them, being able to hike with them, being able to do recreational shit. Not just, I got money, here, boy. So, it's not all about money, And, I think that's where we get mixed up sometimes. We look at certain people and we give them a pass because, they got money. Oh, it's different for them. I mean, don't get me wrong. They'll grow up very comfortable, but it doesn't make it right. It's not fair to the kid, in my opinion. Now, there's some trade-offs when you have kids old or when you have kids young. And I'm going to go through both of them. Now, if you're having kids early, there's a chance you're not mentally ready. Like for me, I wasn't mentally ready to have kids when I was younger. I was still trying to fuck. Well, I was still trying to fuck. But I didn't want to be tied. You know how I feel about family. I feel about, if I'm going to be with one woman, I'm going to be with a family and 2-parent household. You heard me speak on that many times. So I wasn't ready to do that. I was still trying to fuck. I mean, let's keep it real. I was still trying to get pussy. So I didn't want to be tied down and getting somebody pregnant, and then, I really don't love the mother, so I didn't want to really get married to her. But, if I get married to her just to have a family, and, it's starting off fucked up. So I didn't want to do that. I wasn't ready. I was mature enough to at least know that. I wasn't ready to have kids at a young age. Some of my friends were. They had friends right out of high school. They had kids right out of high school. Some had kids when they was 20, 21. I couldn't do that. I was in the Navy when I was that age. I was going around the world and shit. I was fucking. And I didn't want to have no kids that young. So I knew I wasn't ready. So when you have kids early, there's a chance that you're not ready mentally. There's a chance you're not financially stable. When I first got when I finished my first degree, I wasn't really financially stable. I wasn't making no money, living paycheck to paycheck. If I buy a pair of shoes, I'm broke. And don't get a pair of shoes and a pair of socks. I'm really broke. I wasn't making any money. When you all been there. Your first job out of college, you ain't making shit. So I wasn't financially stable to have a kid. Having kids are expensive. I remember one time my nephew was born. This is 20 years ago. And I thought I was doing something. I bought my sister a case of that Similac shit, that fake milk, which I don't know why my sister did that, because, she has, she has breasts. I don't know why she didn't feed that little greedy little bastard with her, But anyway, she's feeding him formula. And I bought him a case, and I thought I was doing something. I came back over to the house about a week later, and all of that fucking formula was gone. That was like, whoa. And I think I spent like $100. If I remember correctly, it was $100 or 92. It was expensive. So I was like, damn. I wasn't even buying the diapers and the clothes and all the other shit that come along with a baby. I was just buying the formula, and that shit damn near put me in the poorhouse. So, when you're young, when you have kids young, there's a chance you're not mentally ready, or you're not financially stable as well to be able to support a family, be able to support kids. Now, there are some good trade-offs. When you have kids young, you get them out of the way. They grow up, and by the time you get in your early 40s, late 40s, more than likely the kids will be out of the house, or at least they'll be grown. So that's good. You don't have to be taking care of kids anymore when you're still kind of young to do things. When you have kids at a younger age, you have the physical strength to be recreational. You can do shit with your kids. Like my dad used to take me to the skating ring. He didn't skate, because he couldn't skate. But, he used to take me to the skating ring. He took me fishing. I hated fishing, by the way. But he took me bowling, to the movies. He did shit with me. So he was able to do that. He was still in good shape, and he was still in really good shape. So that's very important, to be able to do things recreational with your kids. Also, the physical discipline part. Sometimes kids get a little tough. They want to stick their chests out. You got to jack their ass up. When you're younger, you'll be able to do that. Who the fuck you talking to? You got to jack their ass up sometimes. Especially these little bastards of the day, because they don't respect nobody. Back in the day, we would never disrespect parents, like, as far as challenging them physically. But these kids today, they fight their parents. They don't give a fuck. So you have to be in physical shape to combat that shit. You can't be an old man. What you gonna do? Hit him with your cane? Come here, boy. Man, fuck you, old man. So, those, you have to, if you have kids younger, you can have the physical ability to be recreational. You have the physical ability to apply discipline actions, jacking the ass up when need be, And you still young enough to be young grandparents, which is cool. You get to hang out with your grandkids. You still can walk around with them and shit. So there are some trade-offs from having kids younger. Like I said, it depends on the person. Now, though, on the other side, when you wait to have kids when you're older. Now, the trade-off is, when you're younger, you probably won't be mentally ready. When you're older, you're more than likely you'll be mentally ready. You don't fuck everything you want to fuck. There's always exceptions to the rules. But more than likely, you got all the pussy out and you ready to settle down. So you're ready to settle down and be mentally ready to be in a family. Be in one place instead of bouncing around still. So that's a good thing. You're more mature. You're more settled at that time. Obviously, when you're older, you're more than likely to be financially stable. You got a better job, or you've been at your job for years and you're making good money now. You're probably a supervisor, or you're probably in top management. So you're making more money. You have more experience. You got a better job. You're more financially stable. So yes, it'd be easier to have a kid when you're older from a financial point of view. Because you're more financially stable now. More than likely. Now, just like the other part, there are some trade-offs with the physical part. You're older, that might compromise some of the recreational stuff. You might can't play that basketball game with them no more. You might can go fishing, you might can go bowling and stuff, but there's a lot of things you won't be able to do. Let's be real. You're a 69, 70-year-old man. There's some things you won't be able to do. Matter of fact, if you all remember Alan Thicke, he used to play on Family Matters, I believe that show was. Family Matters. Well, anyway, Google his ass. Alan Thicke. He had a son. He has a son that sing. I can't remember no damn body name. I can't think of his damn name. But anyway, Alan Thicke had a younger son. He had an older son that's, in his 40s. And he had a younger son, like 18 or some shit at the time. So I think Alan Thicke was playing in like a father-son type of hockey game. At 69 years old, his ass on the floor playing hockey. Now, that was crazy. And he had a ruptured aorta, and he died. Now, I'm not saying that's the reason why he died, but it probably didn't help. Let's put it like that. 69 years old on the floor trying to play hockey with his younger son. He's trying to do something with him, but, he was 69 years old. So a lot of those things that you can do when you're younger that you could have done, you can't do anymore. You can't be recreational. You can't be fully recreational with your kids anymore. You're old. Yes, you're more mentally stable. You're more financially stable, but you're not physically able. You see the trade-offs. Another thing, when these little bastards put their chest out and, test their manhood, you can't do anything with a kid or a young man in his prime. Coming into his prime. You can't do nothing. You 69 years old, what the fuck you gonna do? Besides getting knocked out or pushed down or some shit. You can't do it. You can't be physically... Now, hopefully you raise your kids where they would never... I would never have challenged my father physically. Never. That's something I would have never done. And when I was in high school, I had got bigger than my father. I was bigger and taller than he was and stronger. But I would never challenge my father on a physical basis. But that's me, and I'm from a different generation. These bastards of the day will do that. You know it. You heard it. You hear it on the news every day. Children fighting their parents. You know, these kids don't give a fuck now. Like they don't give a fuck. They'll fight anybody. So you have to be physically capable of combating that shit. If you 65, 69, 73 years old and trying to put your hands on a 16 or 17-year-old, that's not going to turn out pretty. You know. So those are the things that you have to trade off. Another thing, when you have grandkids, you won't be a young grandparent. You'll be old. You know, you'll be lucky if you're walking. Let's keep it real. You'll probably be in a wheelchair or some shit, or a walker. You know. Now some people are old, they still can walk and get around. You know, but for the most part, you're going to be very limited physically. So you won't be able to do a lot of shit with your grandkids. So, you know, when you ask that question, when is the right age to have children? It really depends on the person. It depends on what's right for them. You know, do you want to have kids early and more than likely struggle financially? You might fuck up the family because you're not mentally ready. But you get the kids out, you know, get it over with. And you still kind of young when the kids are, you know, older now. You'll be a younger grandparent. You're physically able to still do shit with your kids. You're able to be the disciplinary figure when needed. You still have the physical strength to do that. There are some good things when you're young. Or when you're old, you know, now that you're more mentally stable, you're more financially able, but you're less able by a physical point of view. You can't do as much as recreational things you used to do. You can't be the strong disciplinary figure because you're not physically able to do that. You'll be an older grandparent. You know, there's some things you won't be able to do. So it's a trade-off. Now, I will admit, if I had to go back in time, I would have chose the first option. But I'm thinking in my mind of today. So, it's kind of hard. But I'm thinking of my mindset of today. Now, if my mindset 20 years ago, I would have definitely chosen option 2. You know, have my kids at an older age. You know, I don't have any kids now. You guys know that. But if I had to do it all over again, if I had to choose, I would have chosen option 1. I would have had my kids early. Like I said, every person is different. What's scaring me is not the financial. I wasn't making as much money as back then, but I was still okay. We would have got by. It wasn't a mental. Eventually, I would have probably, settled down and stopped trying to fuck. What the biggest thing I think for me would have been the physical part. Now, right now, I'm in good shape. I'm strong. I can still jack some motherfuckers up. Back then, definitely, I would have jacked their asses up. I was younger, But, if I have kids today, 15, 18 years from now, I'm not going to be as strong as I am now. So if that little bastard want to test his manhood, I might have to, I don't know. Let's keep it real. I'd be up in age, and this little bastard coming into his prime. I probably couldn't do nothing with him physically. Just in case. Hopefully I'm going to raise them good enough where they won't ever try that. But just in case. Recreational. 15, 20 years from now, I might not be able to do that catch basketball game or racquetball game. Can't do that shit. Yeah. I'd be not terribly limited, but, more limited than I would have been 20 years ago. So, the physical thing for me is the big thing. Not the mental, not the financial, the physical. So, it depends on the person. Every person has to ask themselves, what are they really to sacrifice? What is important to them? If I'd have really thought about that 20 years ago, I probably would have really tried to fulfill option one and have my kids a lot earlier. But that's water under the bridge now. I have no choice. I have to go with option two now, or option three, just don't have any kids. So hopefully, that's what, every person has to realize what is good for them. What do they care about? Do they care about the physical? Do they care about the mental? Do they care about the financial? What is good for them? And if they figure that out earlier, earlier than I did, then, I think everyone would probably go for option one. I'm just guessing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed tonight's episode of the XY Show. Be sure to check me out on pretty much every major place that you can hear podcasts. I'm on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Apple, Google, Stitcher. So check me out on all of them. Be sure to subscribe, please. Leave a comment. I would very much appreciate it. I'm on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and Instagram, my social media. You can find all of them on my website, which is www.thexyshow.com. www.thexyshow.com. You can find everything there. Be sure to leave contact information. Any constructive criticisms, everything is on the website. You can see it there. You can even leave me a voicemail message and ask me any questions. I'll play it on air. So be sure to check that out. That's a cool feature on my website. And I would love for you guys to take advantage of that. So, without further ado, I will see you all next week. And I want you all to remember to tell Jada Pinkett Mom I'm looking for. No, I'm just kidding. I will see you all next week, and I want you all to remember that you cannot have love without X and Y. Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.